If you are a fan of turn-based strategy games or just Gears of War franchise in general, then it's likely you've heard of or already played the brilliant Gears of War Tactics. For fans of either genre, it's an outstanding game and the closest thing I've seen to XCOM 2, which is not a bad thing by any means. However, like the Gears games, the insane difficulty is not easy by any stretch of the imagination, so as someone who has completed it twice on Insane, I thought I'd share my little wealth of knowledge with you all. Yes, that was me bragging, but that final boss is a pain and you better believe I'm going to brag about beating it twice. Tip number 1 is to utilise Jack to the fullest. To put this quite bluntly, without Jack this game is near impossible. He is without doubt the most useful squad member, so make sure you're using him to his full potential. Just a small list of things that this mechanical wonder can do for you. He can collect crates, complete objectives and free prisoners. He can go invisible every turn and be completely untargetable to the enemy, meaning he's perfect for scouting ahead. He can capture the circular objectives on his own and remain invisible inside them to stay alive. And he can use smoke grenades to block enemy lines of sight to buy you a turn. And this doesn't even cover all of his skills. Go through his skill tree and look at the amazing stuff he can do. He can spawn boom shots and torque bows, or even stun large groups of enemies. In short, use him first every turn. Either buff your teammates or move him forward to scout ahead. But remember, always keep one turn point available to make him invisible so that he cannot be targeted. If he is visible, enemies will go for him as he's weak and can die easily, and usually this means mission failed. Tip number 2 is that scouts are your Magikarps. Everyone watching this knows what a Magikarp is, right? Useless at first but evolves into a monster later on. Well, that's your scouts. Early in the game they seem to just miss everything and put themselves in danger. But when they get the skills to go invisible after a kill, well, now you have an enemy backline shredder. You can get in, kill and get out, repeat every turn. But they can also take a small health hit to gain extra skill points, or guarantee a crit on an unsuspecting enemy. Take them on missions where possible and use them to finish off downed enemies to rank them up quickly. Trust me, when the late game hits you will thank me. And for the reasons in tip number 3 too. Tip 3 is to cheese those scavenger missions. Scavenger runs are by far the worst type of mission in this game, but there is a way to cheese it. When one pops up, use a reset to reassign your scout's abilities and throw everything into invisibility turn length, movement distance and invisibility cooldown. Then when you go on the mission, take just the scout and Jack and boom, you have 2 soldiers who can go invisible every turn and enemies will just wander around unable to hit you. You can run through the entire map and straight to the exit without firing a shot. Easy. Tip number 4 might seem obvious, but it's to chain those executions together. Using an execution gives everyone on your team an extra action point for that turn, so if you get 2 executions in one turn, that's 10 total extra actions. So tactically lower your enemies to their knees and then finish them off. The best way to do this is with a Vanguard. They have abilities that boost their defences and they can charge into large groups with their Retro Lancer charge. So, down them with your snipers and heavies and then have the Vanguards do the cleaning up. Chaining attacks together like this is absolutely vital to completing this game, especially in the later levels. Learn how to do it effectively and get the most out of each turn. While it may seem boring, tip 5 is to play defensively. Most missions you can get away with setting up a defensive line and letting the enemies come to you, utilising your Overwatch where possible. Get your heavy and snipers up high and stack that anchored stat to start raining down hellfire on the grubs below. When the late game comes, you start fighting really tough enemies like boomers and Cantus priests, and for this you can end them in one turn with this ability, which fires at an enemy until the clip is empty. The standard clip size is 4, but this can be increased to as much as 12 with weapon upgrades. 12 free heavy shots at any enemy is taking it down, so utilise it where you can. If you take a shot from a boomer on insane difficulty, unfortunately it's usually you dead, mission over, and if it's one of your key people in the squad, well, that's game over as well. Tip 6 and my final one is to make sure you use your skill points on the sniper in these 2 abilities. These grant an extra 2 shots when you land the first one, and it refills your skill points when you get a kill. When used right, this means you can easily kill 4 to 5 enemies in one turn with just your sniper. Follow up with some executions and vanguards and the enemy won't even be given a sniff. In some of the later levels you're massively outnumbered, so this is really important. Turns will be essential that you get the most out of every single shot. And they really help with boss fights as well, especially when the crit chance is increased. Basically, snipers are how you take down big enemies, so make sure you level them correctly. I hope these tips help and let you enjoy the brilliance of this game even on the highest difficulty. Make sure you think ahead and utilise all of the tools available to you. Thanks very much for watching and good luck out there.